Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Raven here. Today we're gonna do episode 20 of Eric/Maximilian's solo campaign. We've got my music playing in the background. And when last we left off, we finally made it to the school. We found out that our magic is ice, and we obtained our magic focus, which is the hero relics, the suit of ravaging waters. And as we woke up, the nurse told us congratulations on becoming a hero candidate. And with that, we left off, and we will begin right there. And we will look at the nurse and say, what do you mean a hero candidate to defeat the Demon Lord? And she says, well, that's exactly what I mean. Did the Dean not tell you? He said, a little bit, I guess the heroes were called the Primordial Eye. There was 5 of them. They all had magic items that helped them defeat the Demon Lord. And, this is one of them, and the school has 3, so I'm guessing you guys have 2 more. And she says, well, we did, but the hero relics choose who owns them, and yours was the last that us in the school have been waiting for its chosen one to appear. The other 2, one is a 4th year. He's going to be graduating this year. And the other is a 3rd year. He will be graduating at the end of next year. And they will be off to join the Black Boars Guild in the town so that they may go on adventures and grow in power until the time comes for the Demon Lord's awakening. And, well, you know what comes next. And hopefully that doesn't happen before you're able to graduate and join them on their adventure. And as she says this, we just listen and say, alright, well, what do we do now? We're here at the school, we've become a hero, what's next? And she says, well, the dean did say that in order to get some answers, you would need to go to his office. So now that you're well, I would say that's where you should go. And how do I get there? Well, you just well, you know what? No, I'll just take you. Can't be giving the new students maps. You don't know what they'll do. I mean, we've had students that we thought would lay their life on the line, use maps to commit terrible deeds within the school. So we stopped handing them out about 3 years ago. So this way, please. And we're like, all right. And we get up and we grab our gear, and as we get up and get out of the bed and go to move the curtain and walk out the door, as we walk out the door, we're kind of startled as we notice that Good Boy's sitting outside the door in the hallway. And we look and we're like, what's up, Good Boy? They let you in? And the nurse looks at us and goes, well, yeah, the dean said that he was bonded to you, and I was terrified at first, and so was all the other students that seen him walking by on his way here, but he's, done exactly as you've named him. Been a good boy. He just sits there and stands guard. It's quite ominous. And we just look at him and are like, all right, let's go, buddy. And, reach her, and he reaches out a tentacle and wraps it around our waist, and so that we don't have to hold it. And we just sit there, and we walk down the hall, and we follow her to the dean's office. And when we get to the dean's office and she leaves, the dean says, "Oh, hello, my boy. It seems you have awakened 3 days of slumber. Did you, a good deed of rest? And that you apparently needed." And I look at him and slam my hands on his desk, and with vigor and like a small hint of not anger but frustration within my voice, I begin to yell and asking for answers on who's the primordial eye, what are the hero relics, what is a void's creature, and like why is it bound itself to me, and like all these things. And the dean says, "Well, I can't answer all your questions at once, but I can promise that throughout your 4 years of tenure at this school, I promise that all of your answers will come." And as he says this, we look at him and go, "Then just 2. Answer 2 questions." And he goes, "Well, that depends on what they are, my boy. But go ahead and at least ask your questions. For, you see, answers are only given in the time that they are most well received." And as he says this, and it goes completely over our heads, we do not understand what he's saying. Hopefully we will once we're older. He just looks at us and goes, "Well, ask your question, boy." And we said, "No, 2 questions. We'll ask 2 questions." And we say, "First, what is Good Boy? Like, what is a void's creature?" I know the Good Boy said that he was like 1,000 years old or something like that. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Maybe he's older. But he just said that long ago they were everywhere and now they're not. But, I mean, a lot's happened just in the woods, so I probably don't remember everything he told me. And, as we say this, he goes, "Well, the void's creatures are from another dimension. Voids is an acronym that stands for Volitional Offensive Intellectual Dimensional Sentinels. They are biomechanical creatures from we don't know where. But thousands of years ago, our records say about 5,000 to 6,000 years ago is when they first appeared and began to form bonds with humans, and help them fight against monsters and demons alike. And then about 1,200 to 1,500 years ago, the record of them goes completely dark. They just vanished. Your partner here, Good Boy, is probably the first voids that's been seen in that amount of time. So we can't really say much other than what is in the records, which goes to say that they apparently hold great supernatural power from another realm, and they are capable of tremendous things like transportation through space and time. And, well, that's about all we have. I mean, the heroes didn't even have voids. They only had the armor sets that they wielded that became hero items after their deaths and their souls fused and then bound into the items that they wield, bringing them to life and granting them a unbeknownst magical essence that the world had never seen before. So, other than that, I'm sorry, my boy. I was just messing with you before. I don't really know anything. Not when it comes to these creatures, at least. No one these days do. I'm only about 600 years old. There's nothing I can know, but there is everything we can learn together. And as we say this, we just think to ourselves, like, what an absolute asshole. And we say, alright, well, you kind of answered one of my other questions, for the hero relics, so I guess I'll ask, who's the primordial eye? Well, the record says that the primordial eye was the name of the group of 5 heroes that slaughtered the Demon King. Didn't you learn this from your parents? Like, everyone knows this, boy. It's common knowledge. It's childhood stories that are sang in the songs of bards and penned in the poetry of authors throughout the entire world. How have you not heard of the great heroes of the primordial eye? And as he says the primordial eye the second time, our memory starts to flash and trigger as we see silhouettes of a small boy with what looks like to be a voids, but it's a snow tiger, and he's in the forest, the same forest that we walked through to get to this school, and then it disappears. And as we say, alright, let's just, where do we go from here? And he goes, well, classes start tomorrow, so here's your schedule. And we go, alright, thank you, sir. And we reach our hand out to shake his hand, and he reaches his hand out to shake our hand, and as we touch his hand, we get like a flash of red, and like the feeling of like our skin burning, but like the palm of our hand, we can feel what feels like scales. Like it feels like his hand, as we're shaking it, is like covered in scales, but as we can look at him, it's obviously not. And so we're just like, what the fuck? And we like grab our head, and he goes, "Is everything alright, my boy?" With like a small smile on his face. And, as we go like, "Yeah, we're fine. We just got a fucking migraine still from, I'm guessing, bonding with this damn hero suit. Oh, see you whenever I fucking see you, headmaster. I'm gonna go lay down until tomorrow." And he goes, "Alright." And we head out. And as we head out of the dean's room, and we're walking down the hallways, the dean gave us our schedule, and he also, against what the nurse had said, contrary to belief, he gave us a small map. But it is not a map of the entire school. It is a magical map that shows where we are in the school, and it with footprints, and it shows a dot that says location for where we are supposed to go. And as we walk around and explore, it essentially like shows us if we're close to the dot or not. So we still have to find it ourselves. We just kind of have a better idea of where we're going, I guess. And so we go back to the nurse's room, and as we like go to the nurse's room and ask her if we could like lay down for the rest of the day, she says, well, no, didn't the dean I'm not trying to be rude, but didn't the dean give you your room locator card? And I look at her and I go, "Oh, is that what this thing is?" And yeah, he didn't say anything, did he? No, I'm sorry, hon. He's like that. Always gives more questions than answers. And she said, "Just waltz around until you end up on that dot, and you'll be at your room." And I go, "Oh, you mean walk around and get lost until I find this dot?" And she says, "Well, unfortunately, yes. Like I said before, when we used to give out maps, kids did terrible things, and if you want to know my opinion, that shouldn't even be given out. I personally think that there should be a group of students dedicated to teaching and showing the new students around, but the dean thinks it's a waste of time, so there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry. I'm needed here. There's kids that are injured from training and combat practice and survival practice and all the sorts, and so be off with you." And we go, "Alright." And we walk, and as we leave, we look at Good Boy and we go, "This place isn't really fucking friendly, is it?" And he speaks to us in our head and he goes, No. And that one smells of old magic. What one? You mean the nurse? No. The dean. And as we're walking and exploring, we ask Good Boy to elaborate, and he says, dragons. He smells like dragons. But that's not possible, unless he actually is 600 years old. I mean, dragons haven't been seen in this land since before we disappeared. I mean, most of them joined the demon army. So, as far as I know, they're, like, in the demon realm for the past, like, at least 3,000, 5,000 years, something like that. And we just, like, think to ourselves, and then we ask, as, you know, we're walking around, and we finally come to our room, and as we come to our, you know, room, and we're asking Good Boy, so do you think that the dean's a dragon? And before he answers, that's when we find our door. And we find our door, and we're like, oh, our room. And Good Boy goes, yes, our room. And so, as we open the door, and we go to walk into our room, we find, as we open the door, there is a girl in our room, and she sees us and Good Boy, and she, like, screams and, like, scurries to the side of the room and begins to, like, freak out and throw stuff at us, like, what are you doing in my room? Get out! As she's, like, trying to cover up because she was in the middle of changing, and our face just, like, goes completely red as we, like, kind of see a little bit more than we should have. And we, like, cover up our eyes to, like, try and be polite. And, we're like, sorry. And we, like, put our card out and, like, show that, like, the dot in our footsteps align. We're like, this is supposed to be our room. And she, like, kind of starts to calm down and goes, I knew the dean wouldn't fucking tell me if the new student was a boy or not. Well, welcome. And, my name's Lucy. I am a second year. I guess you're my new roommate. My last one. She died. During combat practice a couple weeks ago. So, it looks like you're here to take her place and be my new teammate. I can't say I'm looking forward to it, but if you can prove you're worthy of trusting, then I will eventually warm up to you. And we just look at her and say, oh, that's understandable. You're okay. And sorry to scare you. We have been wandering around this fucking castle for who knows how fucking long. I've probably seen, like, almost everything trying to find this damn place. and she begins to chuckle, and we go, this is Good Boy, my bonded familiar, and I am Maximilian. Nice to meet you, Lucy. And she looks at us and goes, you're familiar, but you're only a first year. And we say, well, yeah, like, I mean, what's wrong with that? And she says, well, I mean, you haven't even taken the class yet. You don't normally get your familiar till like 3 months in. Into your first year, or into your first couple months of second year. Like, I don't even have a familiar yet. The school year just started. And we like look at her and go, oh, well, we didn't get him from the school. Like, we found him in the woods on our way here. And she looks at us and goes, what? And we go, yeah, he's, the dean says he's like a voids creature or something. Apparently, they like disappeared thousands of years ago. And, my buddy Good Boy here is, well, the dean says probably the first one to be seen in that amount of time. I don't know if it's true or not. And she, like, begins to, like, kind of, like, open her mouth and, like, cover it at the same time as she's, like, gawking in amazement. Like, what did you just say? And I said the dean said Good Boy's a voids creature. He told me it's an acronym and said that they're from, like, another dimension or whatever. And they used to fight alongside humans. And we, like, look at her and just, like, stare blankly because we don't know what else to say to her. And she's just she, like, reaches her hand out, like, slightly, as she's, like, covering her face with her other arm and, like, tilting her head backwards, all shy-like. And she asks, with a stutter in her voice, if she can pet him. And we say, yeah, that as long as he lets you, that's fine with me. I mean, we're apparently supposed to be, like, roommates and, like, teammates for the next, well, you said you're a second year, so for me, the next 3 years. And for you, the next 3 years. And so I just hope we can, get along and not make things awkward. And she, like, reaches her hand out and, like, Good Boy, like, reaches out one of his tentacles and, like, wraps it around her wrist, and she, like, begins to squeal as he, like, pulls her towards him. And we, like, look over and, like, she's, like, screaming as he, like, pulls her closer, and she, like, trips and, like, falls, and as she falls, her, like, he catches her with his tentacles, and she like falls with her arms, like, wrapped around his neck, like as if she's giving him a hug, and he's wrapping tentacles that are protruded from his shoulders around her back, like he's giving her a hug, and he's, like, pushing his face, like, up against her. and like trying to like rub up against her and get a good smell at the same time. And as he's doing this, he like tells us inside our head, I smell a demon. She is and he stops hugging her, and he looks, and for the first time we hear Good Boy actually speak, like not telepathically in our head, but out loud with an actual voice that's deep and overwhelming in magic power, that it feels heavy, like a weight and gravity pressing up against your chest and shoulders as it pushes you down. As he looks at Alice and in her ear says, half-breed. And her eyes light up, and she drops to her knees, crying, as she jumps back, and like her skin begins to like phase in and out, like as if she is a ghost, like her physical form is like phasing in and out, in and out. And as it's like phasing in and out, magic begins to wreath around her like an aura, as it's and it's white, and it begins to like ripple as one horn sprouts from above her left eye, and one fang comes down from the right side of her mouth, and she begins to get like a darkness in her eyes as her pupils turn from a circle into like a diamond shaped, and she lets out a massive roar that echoes throughout the hallways and shatters the windows. And let's see if it knocks us on our ass or not. Let's roll. Ooh, it's a 60. Nice. It does not knock us on our ass, but it will knock us back. And it'll knock us back, and we'll get, like, take a couple steps back, and it, like, hit us, like, our back up against the door, as it, like, before the door, like, bursts open, and we, like, look at Good Boy and goes, what the fuck did you say to her? And he just, like, says it again, like, because we didn't hear him. But this time he says it loud enough for both of us to hear. Half-breed. And we, like, what the fuck do you mean, half-breed? As she screams again. And 66, so it just steps, knocks us back a little bit, and as she fucking lunges forward, screaming, and, let's see, she's got a +10, so she literally can't even hit us unless she rolls a 20, yep, so, 1, that's miss, and miss. So as she lunges forward and screaming, trying to claw at us as she like sweeps her hands forward. Her hands like phase from like being human hands to being like demonic like hands with claws as she swipes, and then when the swipe's done, it like phases back into a human hand. And that happens with each of her 3 swipes. And as she's like missing, and then we are going to use a combat point. Let's see, we've got a plus. Oh yeah, I forgot, we got plus 18 now. Oh yeah, that definitely gets her. Alright, so we're gonna go for a grapple, and we grapple her, and we, as we grapple her, and we like pin her up again, and like pin her, her arms up against her back. Sorry, that was hard to say for some reason. And we're going to roll to see, okay, that's another hit. We don't want to hurt her too bad, so we're just going to headbutt her for a d6. 5 plus our 18. Alright, let's see. Alright, boom. So we headbutt her in like the back of the head, and as we like headbutt her and we like bust our forehead open and it begins to bleed, she begins to like scream even more and like wiggle around trying to like break free. And we start to like scream at her like, what the fuck's going on? Why are you attacking us? And as we're like saying this, we're gonna save our last combat point, and then it's Good Boy's turn, and Good Boy is going to use a combat point to attack her with his vines. I have Good Boy's sheet right here. Good Boy's got a plus 12. Alright, and so that also hits. And there's my D8. Alright, so that hits, and as he hits her with his vine, he like wraps it around her throat and begins to choke her. And as he's choking her, she stops screaming and she starts like gagging and like drooling all over herself as she's like crying and like attempting to like scream. And we will use our last combat point to like let go of her and say like, Good Boy, like, let go. And he'll drop her, and as he drops her, she will lunge forward again, now that it's her turn, and she will attack at Good Boy. And let's see what Good Boy's armor is. Ooh, that hits him. Because, oh wait. Oh, that doesn't hit him. That's a 6, not a 9. His armor is an 18, and so that'd be a 16. She almost hit him as she like claws at him, and her hand does the phasey demon thing, and she like goes to hit him. He like unravels part of his like face and like his vines, and her hand like passes through where he like unravels his face, and then he like ravels the vines back together, and like his face like comes back to how it's supposed to be. And then she lets out, let's see, because I got her. Alright, she's gonna do that. It's time. She's gonna spend her last 2 combat points to where's my... There's the D10. Alright, she's gonna let loose a cry and a scream as she simultaneously cries and screams, and her entire body starts to flicker and phase in and out in between a human and the half demonic state that we've seen before. The boomingness from the scream and the sorrowness from the cry mixed together in an amalgamation of magic, as the sound from the scream hits us for 3d10 plus 10 sound damage and bursts our eardrums, making our ears bleed and our head begin to ring as we drop to our knees. And then the cries soothe the burst of the sound as we are healed for 3d10 plus 10 with a soothing green light that drops from her tears and spreads into magic spores all across the room. And as this happens, and we move our jaw to pop our ears to try and see if we can hear anything, and we notice that she's screaming and crying, and she's grabbing her head, and we're trying to make out what she says, but we can't hear, so we try to read her lips. And she's screaming and crying the words, "No more, please, I'm not a monster." And as we read her lips saying this, we look over at Good Boy, and we look at him and go, "By half-breed, did you mean half-demon?" And he looks at us. Oh, this song's over. So, yeah, there we go. And as he looks at us and says, "Well, that's what I smell. The smell of an abomination. The blood of a hero mingled with a vile demon." And as he says this and lunges forward, we also lunge forward, and we that's a hit. We attack and we hit Good Boy with a burst of water that we've never done before. And as the water hits him, it begins to freeze and turn to ice and freeze him in his place. And as we're shocked, what did we just, and we're whatever. And as Good Boy has his front paws frozen, he uses his tentacle to lash out at us, and as he's lashing out at us and missing us and screaming, "She's an abomination, she must be killed before she forsakens everything in this world." We just grab, actually let's see if we can. That's a 3. So we try to grab his tentacle, but we end up slapping it away. And as we say, she's just a girl. A hurt and terrified girl that wanted to fucking pet a creature that hasn't been seen in this world for so long that it's a literal myth, a legend. You guys probably never even existed to her. You're a fairy tale. Everyone in this world is going to act the same way when they see you. Either fearful or gawk at what the hell you are. You're going to have to get used to it, bud. And he just looks at us and says, that's not why I attacked. I attacked because she smells of the heroes and a demon. And you might not remember your past life, friend, but I do remember your past life, friend, and the primordial I, heroes that they may be called now, were very far from such. And as this happens, she slowly is starting to come to, because she's no longer being attacked. And she stops, like, phasing in and out and drops to the ground. And as she drops to the ground, and Good Boy breaks free from the ice and lunges forward. Ooh! Fuck, he got a 19! Alright, dude. Hopefully she don't die. 14. Alright, let's see. Because I need her. Well, we don't need her for the story, but I'd like her for the story. Alright, let's see. Let's add all this mental math up to see what she's at real quick. Sorry if it takes me a minute. And so, okay, we are lucky. She is at 3 health. As he clamps down on her throat and blood begins to burst forth, splattering all over the ground and the walls and Good Boy's face. And we will, alright, we will put our hand out and scream at Good Boy, stop now, with a vigor and anger in our voice, as ice begins to form around Good Boy as like a barrier, and he's frozen solid before it shatters in like a flash freeze break, and then he drops to the ground. And as he drops to the ground with her throat still in his mouth, and she has her head slammed against the ground, I run over and pull his mouth off of her neck and, you know, unsink his teeth from her neck and pull him off to the side. And I, you know, like, focus my magic and, like, imagine ice coating over the wound. And as I imagine and focus, it happens. As water first begins to coat and fill the wound, stopping the blood before it freezes like a bandage over the wound. And with that, we will end today's session. Thank you all. Like, subscribe, and share so that people can join us on our adventures. And I hope you all join us on more adventures. Thank you all, and I will see you next time.